What is up, everyone, and welcome to the Real Ones Canes podcast. That man over there, if you're watching, is Cam Underwood. Actually, if you're listening to, he's also over there. You just can't see him. He is the managing editor. He's the managing editor at StateOfTheU. Yeah. You can follow Cam on Twitter at Underwood Sports. I'm Brian the Beast London. You can follow me at Miami Radio Beast. Cam, we are recording this literally minutes after the CFP Rankings show left the airwaves after we had to wait like 7 hours after a USC Seton Hall basketball game. Took forever. That was fun. As if I needed more Jay Billis in my life. And here we are as the University of Miami did move up ahead of Utah to number 12. So yay, but still spots behind Notre Dame. And again, whatever that buffoon's name that happens to be the head of the committee.
Hunter Yurachek from Arkansas.
Yeah, that guy. It's just out of his mouth.
6'7".
Oh my God! When he did the 6'7" reference, I wanted to throw something at my television, but I knew that my wife would not be happy with that.
And Reese Davis sat there and looked at him like the moron that he is. P.S. By the way, hello and welcome to everyone. I'm sorry you were in the middle of ending your opening spiel. I apologize.
It's all good, man. It's all good. Yeah. So let's. I will say this, because I do believe in honesty and transparency, just like Mario Cristobal. I believe in explaining to our audience exactly how it is. So we are recording this just after 8:30 on Tuesday night. And I will say that before we did start recording, Cam showed his very melancholy and downtrodden mood at the moment. So I have a feeling we will understand why he is in that mood when I ask him to give me his thoughts on the college football rankings, which just dropped.
First of all, I am in a pleasant mood for everyone. And it would make me even more pleasant, or I know it's not a word, but just bear with me. If Sounds you good. All took a second to like, subscribe. Boom. So we've done the call to action. You know who we are. The call to action is like and subscribe on the video. We're gonna
and comment. And comment.
Do that as well. I'm having technical issues with multiple social kind of sites right now. So I think it's not exclusive to YouTube where I'm not seeing all of the comments. I have no idea what's going on in the walls of this place that I live and the connection to the internet. But that being put aside, like, subscribe, leave a comment, and I believe there's going to be plenty for you to comment on. Key change. Cool. So we're back to the conversation about the college football playoff and everything. And the reason when we connected on this here stream to record, the reason why I was quiet was I did not want to direct the fire of the passion of my ire and anger at you, my good friend.
Yes.
Because it is not you who deserve to receive the fire of 10,000 suns that is my anger at present.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, I'm done playing nice with the College Football Playoff Committee. I'm done taking them at their best intent. I'm done believing a single word that they say, even though I didn't really believe it to begin with. They've just very clearly, they have a clear bias against the University of Miami. It is a clear and coordinated effort. The fact is so made patently clear by the fact that every game across the sport had the exact same talking points against the University of Miami. So that means no one in the world of college football had an original thought saying, you know what? Maybe Miami should be ranked ahead of Notre Dame. Not a single person on a single broadcast that I saw on NBC, Fox, the verticals too, as well, ESPN and Disney, all ABC, all of their verticals and different channels. No one had the view that Miami beat Notre Dame and that means something. Well, that's clear and coordinated to me.
I think Booger McFarland is just about the only one. because he was the only guy at the desk during this broadcast that basically just said, I don't know what y'all are talking about. Head-to-head matters to me, and shut his iPad. He was like, I don't need to look at anything else.
Sorry, he is the one. So shout out to Booger for having a brain, which the others, and I leave the host out of it because the host is, like Reese Davis he's playing quarterback. He's like, correct. He doesn't give his own opinions. He tees up the color commentators for their opinions, so I leave Reese out of it, and you have given credit to Booger that I forgot to do, or I was not doing, so credit to that. Everybody else, I'm done. I know so many people hit me up with what the other gentleman who used to play wide receiver on the set.
Yeah, Joey Galloway.
No, I don't speak his name. I don't, he's done to me. And it's to the point. I used to say his name in his career, in his broadcasting and everything. I didn't even hold the fact that he played the team from the state south of, or played for that team in the state south of Michigan. I didn't. It's the fact that he's a moron. He's an absolute idiot, and I refuse to give weight to anything that idiot says. And anyone else who wants to be on a similar logical path or lack of logic as that person who used to play wide receiver who was sitting to the right on the screen of Booger McFarland, to the left as you went around that desk, done. Get the F out of here. I'm over it. And it's one of those things, the committee had said this entire time, since the beginning of the rankings this year, well, we're not comparing Notre Dame and Miami because they're in different evaluative groups, which was asinine to start with, but whatever. But then it said, well, if it comes to a point where they're within 3 places of each other, then head-to-head matters. And I've said again, every other instance of teams with the same record who played head-to-head, the winning team is ahead of the losing team in every single instance, and has been in every single instance of the iteration. I know that y'all are playing a drinking game out there. Iteration. Yeah, so enjoy that whole bottle. As I was saying, in every iteration of the rankings, and in every possible instance of head-to-head teams, every time, the team who won that game has been ranked ahead of the team that lost that game, with the exception of the University of Miami Hurricanes over the Notre Dame Fighting Irish this whole entire time. And then Hunter Yurachek tries and fails to say, well, Notre Dame is a complete team. They've been a complete team the entire season. So their season started in week 4 because they lost to us in week 1. They had a bye week. They lost in week 3 to Texas A&M. So they took a month off before their season started. It's convenient that their whole season they've been this consistent team winning games and doing their job because you exclude the first month of the year from your evaluation process. Baloney. Ooh, I almost cursed real bad right there. Also, as well, in addition, coming out and saying, well, the Miami Hurricanes are actually the team who has risen up in the rankings highest of any team. They have seen the delta change from 18th in the first iteration to now 12th. So they've gone up the most, and da-da-da-da-da. They only went up because you underranked them then and continue to do so. And then he's just talking about other kind of things. Well, there was head-to-head with Notre Dame and Miami, but also there were other teams in the – that's not head-to-head. It's not head-to-head when you put other teams in that conversation. Head-to-head is one team against another, which happened on August the 31st, and Miami won the goddamn game. And it just – they're making it up as they go along. This is whose line is it anyway? Everything's made up and the points don't matter. Literally for Miami, the points don't matter because if you look at the scoreboard, Miami scored more points than Notre Dame when they played each other this darn season. So all they're doing is they have the clear and coordinated effort against the University of Miami to leave us out, and they are enacting that plan at every single step of the way. I've said it before, and my last thing before I shut my mouth, because I know that you are waiting to get in here, and I'm sure that there are people who are tired of hearing me talk about this. I said this in week 2 after we beat Notre Dame. You can go look up the tweets. I said, if it comes to pass that Miami goes 10-2, 6-2 in the ACC, and does not make it to the ACC Championship Game, they're going to leave us out of the playoffs just like they did last year. We are one game away from that happening. And what they are doing is, you notice how every week there is no precedent, there is no consistency, there is no, even when they said, well, when it comes to a time to compare, because Reese Davis did a great job last week, and he asked directly, and he said, so Oklahoma beat Alabama head-to-head, and Oklahoma is ranked in front of Alabama. So head-to-head matters, right? And Yurchek said yes. He said, cool. So when Miami and Notre Dame are in the same evaluative group and you look at head-to-head, you're going to do that same thing because this is the logical situation. This is the precedent that you've set. These are the structures that you're saying you are enacting this year. And Hunter Yurchek said yes, and I told y'all it was a goddamn lie, and you saw the evidence of that lie, because now we're not talking about that same thing. We're not going off of the word of the man from saying and how the committee operates and evaluates teams. It's now all of a sudden some other stuff. They're doing whatever they want. They're playing fast and loose, and I'm done believing or thinking Miami has a chance to make it to the college football playoff. We're going to win this game at Pittsburgh this weekend. It's going to be 10-2, 6-2 in the ACC again. We're not going to go to the ACC Championship Game because we're not going to get the losses from other teams that we need. And then we're going to be talking about the Gator Bowl or the Citrus or whatever bowl game is played in Orlando now. It's going to be that. I am done with it. It is a travesty. It is absolutely malpractice by everyone in that committee that this is what it is. And I am going to stop talking, because if I continue talking, I guarantee you we're going to get demonetized for vulgar language.
Yeah, we don't want that. I agree with everything you're saying, especially the fact that Joey Galloway is an idiot. Matter of fact, I may title this episode, episode 116, Joey Galloway is an idiot.
My name is Cam Underwood, and I approve this message.
A couple of thoughts. One, no one wants to hear this right now, so I will say it anyways. We wouldn't be in this position had we won one more game between either SMU or Louisville. Just that's a fact.
That
now,
is a fact.
There's nothing we can do about that now. That doesn't make it all right, because we're still in this position, but I just thought I'd throw that out there just to be that guy. This just came at me on Twitter before we got on here in a little back and forth I was having with one of our great fans. Here's what I will say. I'm not even right now. I don't care if we are above or below Notre Dame at this moment. I don't care. Okay. All I know is when the selections go out to actually pick who is in this playoff, like the final vote, if Notre Dame is in, then we should be in. That's
not going to happen.
I'm just saying that's all I care about. I don't care.
It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
I understand that, but I'm saying to you that if we're above Notre Dame or below Notre Dame or around Notre Dame or where Notre Dame or blah blah blah, I don't care right now. What I care about, all I care about is that we make it if they make it. Because if they make it and we don't make it, then you can take this whole system and shove it up your.
Well, the thing is, you have to care about it now, because they're showing you, they're giving you the answers to the test, right? Like you've already done, like they're showing you the work. They're giving it to you now, Beast. So they're saying you have to care about what it is now, because what it is now is what it's going to be. It's not going to change.
I get you. I feel you. I know you are correct. What I am just saying is I choose not to get myself worked up over it at the moment, because I am saving it for when we ultimately do not get in, and then I can let it go. And then I can unleash. That's what I am choosing to do. Okay. Because none of it makes sense.
All right.
And now,
look, you cannot make sense out of nonsense. Which is
the only thing that they are going to do to remedy the situation,
nothing.
What they are going to do is because the window of their trying to figure out what they're going to do next year and whether there's going to be any changes to this cockamamie process is they're going to increase the number of teams. And they're going to come out there, and whatever his name is, Hunter blah blah head, is going to come out there and say, well, the Miami thing, they didn't get in this year, but next year we're going to have 16 teams. And so they'll be in next year. And yay, that'll make it all better.
They said that last year. They said Miami was left out because there were no good wins on the record for Miami. So then we went out and we beat Notre Dame in the opener. We beat a USF team who's a handful of plays from being in the playoff. I'm really upset with them because if they would have kept doing what they were doing, that would have helped our strength of record, but whatever. We beat Florida. It's not my fault or your fault that the Florida Gators are a dumpster fire, right? But this whole year, they're saying, hey, last year was such a bad version that this year, the version of Florida that we have on the schedule is an improved version. So you have interior growth of the strength of schedule. You have USF, and then you have Notre Dame replaced Ball State, who was literally the worst team in the country last year, 136 out of 136. So you have those things. And so now you say, okay, well, we've beaten these teams. Right.
By the way,
Florida State was the darlings of the sport, and we went up there and smacked them. Right. So all of that because the committee said last year there were no good wins. Go show us some good wins. And the evaluative process and the rankings will be different. We've done that, and it's not. And I want to also say, yes, I would have liked it had Miami won all of their games or split, not, had won an additional game over one of the ones that they lost. Absolutely. Losing those games is not terminal for any team but the University of Miami. And it's a double, triple, quadruple, quintuple, whatever you want to call it, standard. Iteration. Y'all got to keep taking them shots. And it is just unacceptable because I know that we're different. And it's always been us against the world. But they continue to prove that in such a way that it is actual, real malpractice. I just want to say that as well.
Yeah, just by the way, I'm just going to throw this out there, but Georgia Tech is 9-2. They come in at 23. Pitt is 8-3, so worse record, but they're at 22. Cam, why do you think Pitt's ahead of Georgia Tech?
Pitt is ahead of Georgia Tech with an additional loss on their record.
Right.
Because those teams played and Pitt won the game. Did I get the answer right?
Yes. You get a sticker and brownie points.
Okay. Well, thanks. Appreciate it.
Yep. I hope you feel better about that now.
I mean, there are brownie points. Well, I have actual brownies in the kitchen, so that'll be great. But as I look at these, he didn't actually put the goddamn rankings in this article. I was looking for them because, the college football. I want the actual rankings.
I have them.
I found them.
Okay.
Just because I want to just continue to point out the fact. Well, I'm not going to go over the entire list, but Team A beats Team B with the same or similar record, and they're ranked ahead as they should be.
Correct.
It's not these mental gymnastics that people are doing to talk themselves into being okay with the committee screwing over Miami specifically and exclusively is not all right. And if you want to add in other teams to the conversation, say, well, Cam, what about Georgia Tech? What about Pitt? What about bring them into the conversation? And if they measure up, then they measure up. And I will extend this out, but looking exclusively at the University of Miami, my alma mater, your alma mater as well, the teams that, the school that I support and love, we beat a team that's ranked in front of us, and they continue to tell us that Miami is not as good as that team. And it pisses me off to the highest levels of piss.
But I think the important thing is we beat them and we have the same record, right? Like SMU beat us, but they have one more loss.
Right. Right. Exactly. That part. Like, it just, yeah. And I know that, obviously Notre Dame people are going to be on the side of Notre Dame because it's just continuing their string of lifelong bad choices. But where the argument dies is right here. And I've seen several people say this, and immediately whomever it is that supports Notre Dame has a nice cool glass of STFU. Flip the result and say Miami or Notre Dame beat Miami. They're at 9-2, right? So we only lose one conference game, but everything is the same, but we flip who won that game. Never has there been a day on God's green earth where the Notre Dame people would be okay with being ranked behind a team that they beat with a similar record. The same. Never. There's not a day in creation.
And by the way, it wouldn't Notre Dame.
Nor should there be.
By the way, in that scenario, the rankings would still be the same how they are.
Well, I'm just saying they would be, but I'm saying if we just play the mental game, the hypothetical exercise.
Okay. Yes, I will play along.
Flip the result. They beat us.
Yeah.
We're both ranked 9-2 at this point, and the committee has Miami at 9 and Notre Dame at 18 and going up the rankings to 12. I was going to say something very inflammatory.
They would be apoplectic in South Bend.
Apoplectic is a great word, and yes, but there's not a day that's been in the history of creation that they would be accepting of their stance. So then we're like, okay, cool. So if you flipped it and it was y'all, it would be cool, right? That would be there. So that would be the right choice because you're saying that this is the right logical choice, regardless of who the teams are. So if it were flipped and y'all were ranked behind us, having lost or having beaten us, you would be okay with that. Silence. The next time that somebody responds to that, who supports Notre Dame, whether it's, I've seen it, I was going to list names of people on Twitter who have asked that question, but many, many people, including people in the media, have asked that question. And that's the immediate trump card. Shut up. Uno, reverse draw 2, wild card. It colors red, boy. Like, no, no. So thank you for going on that rant with me, fellow, Kane supporters and listeners, and all the haters who are listening too. Appreciate y'all. But yeah, I am really doing yeoman's work, not to curse right now.
And you're doing a great job of it. All right, let's put this aside. Okay, let's just move it over because Miami still does have a final regular season game against a University of Pittsburgh team that played their butts off against Georgia Tech and looked really good. Mm-hmm. Some of their rankings and some of their statistics and turnover, like all that stuff, may not look like they are a really good team, but they are a really good team. Pat Narduzzi is a good coach. They've got a good quarterback. They've got good running backs, and they've got great linebackers on a defense that knows how to defend, for lack of a better word. So we will get into the game against Pitt. That and more on the other side. You are listening and watching the Real Ones Canes podcast. Welcome back to the Real Ones Canes podcast. His name is Cam Underwood. He's a managing editor at StateOfTheU. You can follow Cam on Twitter at Underwood Sports. I'm Brian the Beast London. You can follow me at Miami Radio Beast. Cam, StateOfTheU.com. It is the best website for your Miami Hurricanes coverage. People should head there as soon as they are done listening or watching to this broadcast because it is the best. There's no better place to get your Canes coverage. I can personally attest to the fact that Cam probably needs new hands at this point. He's been typing so much and spitting out so much content, as has his staff. StateOfTheU.com is the best place to go. It's 24/7, 365, and it's free, Cam. Tell the people what's up there.
I'll tell them and show them if they are watching. So, the site is here, StateOfTheU. The feed is going. KC Nevi J has a Thanksgiving piece about Corey Heatherman in the feed. Edster had something earlier from his Reddit account and put up there, so you can interact with the feed. And then we have just our content. Mike Schiffman with ACC Power Rankings for this week. Monday Musings, 5 up and 5 down after the Canes game. That's Craig T. Smith looking at a lot of different things in both of those pieces. Top 25 from this week. Film review, Justin Dottavio, Storm Center link dump, and just kind of recap on Sunday morning. And then, opening odds for the game, TV coverage, the path to the ACC Championship game, the recruiting rules, which I pinned up there, which you should be checking out. The good, the bad, and the ugly, 3 stars, the game recap, all of that and more, just a click away.
Yeah, the StateOfTheU.com. Please head there and check out the great work that Cam and his staff do. Let's jump into it. The Pittsburgh Panthers, they've had a not so bad season. They're actually first in the ACC. If you want to look at that, they do have a pathway. I don't know. Is there like 7 teams that have a pathway to the ACC championship? I don't even know at this point. It is ridiculous. But that's neither here nor there. The ACC, by the way, is. I do like the fact, Cam, that we're coming down to the last game of last week of the year, and there's a lot to play for a lot of teams in the ACC. So I do like that. I don't like that it takes 78 things for the University of Miami to get to the ACC championship game in Charlotte, but I do know none of that can happen unless they beat the University of Pittsburgh, who comes into this game after winning a game against Georgia Tech. That was just a great game to watch. I was watching that game while my family was watching the Gators in Tennessee, which was a much worse game, and that's their problem. But you got this kid. You know what? Before we get into Pittsburgh, just the University of Miami coming to this game, Cam, they mentioned it actually on the CFP broadcast, but we would be remiss as we're thinking about things we're thankful for, and we'll actually do that segment at the end of the show. Carson Beck has had an unbelievable month or so of quarterback play, like 80%, just playing out of his mind.
80% completions.
Yes.
And he's really just, returning to the Carson Beck that we had seen previously at the University of Georgia. And, Shannon Dawson did say a couple weeks ago, he was like, with the way that Carson played at SMU, Dawson expected him to get hot and go on a run, like because of just how he was fitting into the offense. And it's a different passing scheme. It's a air raid scheme. So you're talking about, Dawson has repeatedly said, I call whatever I call because the progression directs where the ball goes. It's not a player based, like, okay, throw it to him. It's like the play has the concepts and you read them in the order that you're supposed to read them based upon the concepts. And that dictates where the ball goes. So, people talk about this blitz or man-to-man or zone. It is what it is. And look, I know that, whatever, the last offensive snap for Miami at SMU was an interception. But, I mean, even with that game, Carson was dealing. So, he has been playing very, very well. And, previously, the other thing that I wanted to say before we get into this game, there was a long list of things that Miami needed to get to the ACC Championship game. That list is now down to 3 things. 1, a win at Pitt. And then 2 and 3 are losses by at least 2 of the trio, Duke, SMU, or Virginia. So it's a minimum of 3. If all 3 of them lose, then we go. But got to beat Pitt, and then you need at least 2 losses from the group, Virginia, SMU, and Duke.
I know SMU plays Cal, who fired their coach, which was weird because, what do you think you're going to do at Cal? But that's neither here nor there.
Well, that loss to Stanford was.
Yes, I understand it's a big game. You lose against your rival. I understand that. But in the big scheme of things, unless you're going to start pouring real money into your program at Cal, then, what do you expect? Virginia and Virginia Tech will play, Who does Duke play? That's what's I can't seem to pull that out of my brain.
Wake Forest.
Oh yes, okay, Wake Forest. All right. I don't even want to think about what my chances are this week as far as two of those teams losing,
Right.
but one never knows. It is the ACC, and ACC football can ACC football. So let's get into this game against Pitt, because another quarterback that is dealing is the Pittsburgh quarterback, who did not start the season as the Pittsburgh quarterback, but Mason Heinchel out of Ohio, out of the Toledo area, is playing really good football. They got a kid from Central Florida named Jakirian Turner. He basically won the game for them against Georgia Tech. They got Kenny Johnson, a wide receiver. They got amazing linebacker play. This is a good team that Miami is facing.
Desmond Reed from Miramar High School. Shout out to my former place of employment as well. And a diminutive but explosive player out of the backfield. He's in that Brashard Smith kind of a role. I mean, he's a little bit smaller than Brashard, but he can run it. He can catch it. All different kind of things like that. He's been out for a little bit.
He's been hurt on and off all year almost.
Yeah. Because he's, 5'8", 175 pounds. They're giving the ball all the time. But that being said, I would fully expect him to be back this week. But yeah, no, Pittsburgh is a good team. They have good players all over the field. Heinchel stepping in at quarterback has really done a good job for them. He's played in 8 games and gotten better pretty much every game. I mean, he played mop-up duty against Central Michigan in the second game of the year, didn't play the other games in the first 4. And then they just said, hey, we got to do something different at quarterback. Like, what's his name? Eli Holstein. Yeah, he's not it. And then they went to Heinchel, and he went 30 for 41 for 323 and 4 tuds, albeit against one of the worst teams in America in Boston College. But that was his first start as a true freshman.
Right.
And he's continued that kind of level of play throughout the rest of the year. He has thrown interceptions in 5 of his 8 starts. He did not throw one last week, so it is possible that we could, get a turnover or 2 off of him. But yeah, he is accurate with the ball. He's athletic. He's young enough where he doesn't have any kind of fear. And it's basically what he's doing for, or been doing for 2/3 of the season is pretty much what Kenny Pickett did in his first start that ruined Miami's undefeated season in 2017. But I'm just saying, take that one game from Kenny Pickett and extend that out for 8 games of the true freshman season. And that's the kind of stuff that Mason Heinchel has been doing. So credit to him, credit to the staff for being bold enough to go away from a player who was not doing the job. And yeah, look, they always have big offensive line. That Narduzzi is there because of the work that he did previously as a defensive coordinator. And that's something that, Shannon Dawson had talked about. So they've been playing that same scheme since it came over from Michigan State. He wasn't at Michigan State. That was D'Antonio.
Yeah, no.
He was.
Narduzzi was the defensive coordinator for D'Antonio at Michigan State.
Right. But they've been playing that scheme forever. You have older guys. They know what they're doing. They know their reads. It's a lot like, not this year, but remember last year's Virginia Tech team, at least, when we played them, they weren't great, but especially those dudes in the secondary, they had all been there for a long time. They knew their system. They baited Cam Ward into interception, throwing a low red zone wheel route to Xavier Restrepo, because the guy had watched film and he's just like, cool, if this opportunity comes up, coach, I'm going to go pick it off. And they were able to do that kind of a thing. So yeah, they do present a challenge for the University of Miami. So it's incumbent upon Miami to go out there and perform, straight like that. I think again, I predicted Miami to go 11-1 this year. We're 1 game away from 10 wins again in the regular season, which is an accomplishment. It's not the kind of accomplishment that I want to really center, but yeah, it's going to take work, but we have plenty of really good players too. So yeah, let's go up there and punch them in the mouth and go win.
As we go into this game, again, I ask you this question because you know ball better than I do. But certainly last game, we talked about that Miami did not run the ball well enough, and Miami did not stop the run well enough.
Yeah.
Now, granted, you still won, right? You still won by 17 on the road in a tough stadium, whatever. But the little things will hurt you against a better team, and Pittsburgh is definitely better than Virginia Tech. So I ask you, Corey Heatherman, this defense, will they be able to stymie the run, and will Miami be able to run the football to complement the great passing offense that Carson Beck and these wide receivers have been able to put up over the last few weeks?
Yeah, I think you're going to see more of a Miami performance in those areas this week than you did last week. Like, I mean, it was the worst defensive performance against the run this year and the second worst rushing performance on offense. So, like, you got real extremes there. I think that we're going to be more like ourselves in those regards. And yeah, I think specifically, we're going to have to fit the run better on early downs. I think that we're going to have to rotate, especially at linebacker, in passing situations, because it is something that I talked about. I meant to write a piece about this, but I did not. I like Mo Toure, but he's had 3 ACLs. And you can see, or at least 2 ACL reconstructions in his career to this point. And there's just some times where his body isn't able to do what it was once able to do.
Yes,
like, I'm in my 40s now, and like when I was younger and I was a basketball player, I was climbing all over the rim. And I went out to the park the other day and I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna, go up, and I was always, smacking the glass on layups and everything. Like, I could jump. And I tried recently, and it don't jump the same. You know what I mean? And I know that's an extreme example because, like, I'm comparing myself to myself from 2 decades ago, but you can see the same kind of restrictions of athleticism from Mo Toure, where he's like, my brain says go here. And so my brain is saying, okay, legs, body, go get there. And I'm a step or half a step too slow. I don't have that same range to get to the spot anymore. And I think especially with the kind of running backs on the Pitt roster, who are smaller, quicker, faster running backs more than big, bulky bruisers, that half step all of a sudden changes things in a big, big way. So I think, I'm not saying that don't play Toure. I'm just interested to see what the rotation looks like and how they're going to account for the fact, because you have to be honest, right? Because the film will show it. If you're trying to keep up with quicker players, maybe that part of your career is over, buddy. You know what I mean? So I'm interested to see that part of things and how that has an impact on Miami's run defense.
So let me ask you this question. If you were to switch up personnel in that sense, where do we look? Because I'm trying to think of what I would do if I were to counter Pittsburgh's speed with their running backs and how I might change things. And I'm trying to think what I would do considering injuries and also experience and playing time and who is quick and all of that stuff.
I mean, and again, I don't need necessarily, the Flash out there, the fastest man in the world, but yeah, I think that you're going to see, it's almost like what they're doing in the secondary of replacing Keontae Scott by aggregate. You know what I mean? Like,
that makes sense.
Multiple guys. So it's a little Popo Aguirre. It's a little Chase Smith, who really, I mean, he's a rangy dude, man. He has these long arms, and everything. So when he starts pumping those arms as he's running, and you see just the athleticism and and the mobility in a player like that. So I would say, yeah, a little Popo Aguirre, a little Chase Smith, a little OG Bobby Pruitt. Just you piece it together. I wouldn't say, okay, replacing one for one, but by taking the better parts of a couple different players, you can, get that performance in sum total.
No, that makes a ton of sense. I would say, just as it relates to stopping the run, you just can't give up the big run play, right? Like when Pitt has been successful a few times this year that I've watched them, like well, I mean, dude ran for 7 billion yards last game. But don't give up the big run play. Like, don't let you can't give up 30-yard run plays. That's because you don't need home runs in the run game bother me more than anything.
They're such gut punches.
Because one, it probably means you did not tackle.
Yeah.
And nothing bothers me more than we can't, like, it's when a receiver drops a ball they should catch. It's like, what's the one thing you're supposed to be able to do if you're a receiver? Catch the football. It's kind of in the job description. Yeah. And again, if you are playing defense, the one thing you need to be able to do is tackle. It comes with the territory.
Yeah, but the real bad thing was in some instances, like especially last week because it was the worst defensive the run defense performance of the year. Like they were gashing us, and it wasn't missed tackles. It was there's nobody there, and I'm just stuck with the vision in my head of the final touchdown that Pitt scored against Georgia Tech, where basically it was beautiful run blocking. The Jakirian kid was patient, and the Red Sea parted, and he was gone up the middle of the field. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like a toss to the edge. I mean, we're in high school. We run, a toss. I find the sideline and ride. No, that was straight down US 1, Woodward, Broadway, whatever you want to call it. But, I mean, right down the middle of the field between the cover two safeties. So I had to say that, like, yeah, there are times when, like, big runs happen because you miss tackles. And honestly, thinking back across the year for Miami, it hasn't been missed tackles. It's been missed run fits, and then the running back bouncing a play, finding a hole, and running to daylight for a good long game. So, yeah, I think we've done a better job with tackling. I know that there was a pretty bad tackling performance against Syracuse. But, yeah, I'm more comfortable with guys being in position. My thing is don't have the breakdowns where the Red Sea parts and all of a sudden somebody from Pittsburgh is running all alone down the field. That's the run game issue that I don't want to see.
On the offensive side for the University of Miami, what do you see as the keys? I'd like to see. I'm enjoying the Gerard Pringle experience to complement Mark Fletcher getting healthier, to complement Marty Brown bringing what he brings. I'm not sure where Jordan Lyle fits in at this point. That's a whole nother conversation. But certainly the passing offense last game, I like when we distribute the ball to a lot of guys. Like, listen, Malachi's going to get his, but if we're throwing to 8 guys, I like that. It's keeping the other team kind of, unbalanced as far as what they're doing defensively, because it's going to be a different guy that's going to make a play.
Yeah, no, I mean, and again, it's really Carson reading reading the offense and the pass schemes so that the ball finds who it needs to find. And the line obviously for giving protection to be able to do so.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, look, in the passing game, keep cooking, keep doing what we're doing. It's clearly working. Carson Beck, ACC quarterback of the week last week. Hello. Type thing. So, I would say just keep doing that. The thing with the run game is you have to stick with it, and you have to hit the chances that are given to you. And this was a big talking point from Shannon Dawson, and going back and, reading Justin DeTavio's film review of the game and, watching other scheme breakdowns from Miami at Virginia Tech. There were opportunities in the run game that the running backs just missed. They just missed straight up. So don't miss them. You know what I mean? And if you hit some of those, the bad rushing performance turns mediocre to pretty darn good. Even if you only hit a couple of those. So yeah, just really getting back to basics, fundamentals, and techniques. A thing that I've really done because, taking feedback from the audience and the multiple places that, I put out content and say, basically quit crying about the refs, quit crying about these other things and evaluate ball. And so I've really made it my focus to not center those kinds of things. But really, it's about Miami coming out and doing Miami's job. Like, I really think that we match up well against Pittsburgh. We're road favorites. It opened at 7.5. I know there's been bet down to 6.5, but it was always going to be right around a touchdown. I think the 6.5 is a reasonable number, but I do believe that Miami should win by about a touchdown. But it comes down to doing what we need to do. If you do what we need to do, I believe that we win. And if not, then we're stuck after the game talking about, well, Carson Beck threw 4 interceptions, Louisville. JoJo Trader dropped an easy catch that went into an interception, SMU. You know what I mean? Just doing the things that are there to be done. I really believe that this team, the quality and the caliber of the talent, is enough to be able to go out there and win, because I do believe that our talent and our production and performance is higher and better than Pittsburgh. I'm not crazy for that, but I just believe that, and I think, and I need the University of Miami Hurricanes to go out there and play like that. And it's going to be tough, and I know that it's us against the world, and everybody's rooting for our downfall, and they just want, hey, you know what? It will be best for Notre Dame to avoid having a comparison against Miami if Miami lost. And, Pittsburgh, look, they're playing for similar type things. They're ranked in the college football playoff rankings this week. You know what I mean? They want to beat us and hope for a couple different losses so that they're the ones going to the ACC Championship Game. I get it, but it's us against the world, so go win.
All right, you have a prediction.
Miami by a touchdown.
All right, that makes sense. I'm going to give Miami's going to win by, Miami's going to cover, whatever that means. So 8 points, 9 points, 10 points. Miami will cover. I will have a more of a prediction later in the week. Cam, before we get out of here, the Thanksgiving holiday is upon us. One, I do want to say I'm incredibly thankful for the community that is growing around this show, especially on the YouTube pages. They're jumping in, they're commenting, they're loving it. So I appreciate that. Thank you guys. Subscribe, share, comment, all that stuff. Tell your mom. You're at the Thanksgiving table. Roll out the podcast. Let them watch it. Let them listen to it. We really appreciate everyone that's being a part of the show. So thank you for that. Cam, I'm thankful for you for hopping on and jumping on the show. Brandon had to make sure that his I's were dotted and T's were crossed as it relates to the 78 other jobs he had.
Mm-hmm.
So I appreciate you coming on. It has been amazing working with you. And so I'm very thankful from the bottom of my heart for you coming on the show. And also, you're sexier than Brandon. So I think it helps. I think it helps our viewing, to be honest with you, with the ladies especially. Yeah, so there is that. Okay, here's what we are going to do. I'm going to give you one. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. No, please.
No, I was going to say my thankful for, but you're going to.
Yeah. No, go ahead. Go do it. Do it now. Because, well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you what we're going to do, and then I'll let you do your spiel so that you can marinate while you're talking, so that we can come up with how we're going to do this. Okay. Which is, you're allowed to be thankful for a lot of things in Miami Hurricanes football, but we get to pick one, top one.
Heard.
And we're going to shout it out at the same time, because I think it's probably going to be the same thing, but I'd love to see if this works. Okay. So while you're marinating on that, tell everyone what you're thankful for this year, as it relates to this whole thing.
Look, thankful for you, thankful for this podcast, thankful for this opportunity, and everyone who watches and listens and supports, whether it's here, whether it's StateOfTheU.com or anywhere else. So, I don't take this for granted or anything. I know just you put content out there and it floats, but yeah, just seeing people interact with the content, and even at all of the home games, running into fans and listeners and watchers and things, man, it's really cool to be able to do that. With this, which is something that started as a passion project for me when I was teaching choir over at Miramar High School. So really just thankful for that. Thankful for my my health, thankful for my friends and my family. Whether they are near or far, all of them far, because I'm the only person in the state of Florida at this current moment and will be. So, but I have other friends that I will be partaking the Thanksgiving holiday with. But yeah, just really thankful for all of that, man. And yeah, just thankful just in a general kind of a way. So I have tried to be more gracious in life and just give people their flowers. as they go along. And I was talking on the phone to a friend of mine, and I shared something really heartfelt with them. And then they were laughing. I was like, no, like, I'm being very, very serious. Like, you've always held this place in my life, and I'm thankful to be able to pour into those others who have poured into me, and give them the just the connection and the knowledge that I see them, I hear them, and I respect them. So yeah, those are the things that I'm thankful for, and many, many more. But that's my answer.
All right, that works. All right, here we go. We're allowed to be thankful for a lot of things for Hurricanes football. Hell, I'm thankful for Miami Hurricanes football. It's brought me a lot of great joy in my life. Granted, earlier in my life than more recently, but still a lot of joy. What is the one thing for this 2025 Miami Hurricanes football team that you are thankful for? We will both shout it out as I count down from 3.
Man,
do you know what? Do you have it?
I think I know what yours is, but I don't want to say the same thing.
Well, no, I mean that's let's not play this game. Let's not play this game. Maybe it is the same thing.
All right, maybe it is, maybe it ain't, but fine.
All right, here we go. 3,
okay,
2, 1. Malachi Tony. Oh!
Yeah, I knew you were going to say Malachi Tony.
Well, see, then you didn't play the game. You switched it up. But tell me about Keontae Scott. Tell me why he means so much to you.
I mean, look, he's a guy who came in late, him and Jacoby Thomas, which was my other option. Yeah. They came in late after spring and just stepped into massive, massive roles on this team. The finalists for the Thorpe Award just came out. Unfortunately, Keontae Scott is not on that list because he's missed games with injury, and he's probably not going to play for the University of Miami again because he's out for the season. Cristobal was trying to let us down easy with that. Right. But the fact that they said it on the broadcast the last 2 weeks that Keontae Scott is out for the season means that they were told that in the TV production meetings, which means he's not coming back. But I mean, just the utilitarian play, just the Swiss Army knife there. I mean, whether it's defending the run, defending the pass, blitzing, he was everywhere, man. And you overlook the nickel star, whatever you want to call position sometimes, but his impact, he made you watch him for the level of excellence that he brought to the team. And again, not only just because of that excellence, but that excellence in comparison to the horrible, terrible, no good, very bad performance of the secondary outside of O.J. Frederick last year. You know what I mean? So, like, you're going from down in the dumps to a semifinalist. Should have been, if he would have been healthy, he's a finalist, maybe the winner of the Thorpe Award. Maybe not winner because, like, there's a measure of, like, name branding for, like, the players, the high caliber recruits who are now finalists for that award. But, like, he had that kind of performance and impact, and you cannot overlook that. So, yeah, I know that you're going to go on about, and rightfully so, for the player that you named. But yeah, I wanted to give Keontae Scott, just like I was talking about, giving people their flowers and the respect that they are due for the impact that they've had in my life. I give that, or bequeath that, to Keontae Scott, because the value that he had for this team and the impact, the positive impact on this defense cannot be overstated.
And as it relates to the defense, I'm extremely thankful for Corey Heatherman, right? Because the state of the defense last year, which fell apart under Lance Guidry, after he lost some key players from the year before, it was unacceptable. And Corey Heatherman comes in, my fellow masshole, comes in, and he's wicked awesome. That's what he is. Not, by the way, not exactly Mr. Yuck It Up or Mr. Smiles, unless it's senior day. But he puts in the work. So we are thankful for Corey Heatherman to come in as the defensive coordinator. We hope that there's a nice contract headed his way so that he stays here for a while. Malachi Tony has been. We can have this discussion about who's been the greatest freshman receiver you've ever seen. Certainly, we talked about this before. Amon Richards holds the record for receiving yards. Malachi Tony is 91 yards away. Amon Richards tweeted just a while ago that he's ready for that record to be broken by Malachi Tony. The kid is not only just fantastic and talented, but he is as nice as they come. A matter of fact, him and his mom and his family were giving out turkeys today over in Hollywood. He's just the sweetest kid. He comes from a great family, and he's mature. And by all accounts, he works his butt off, first in, last out, watches film, does everything that you could possibly want anyone to do. Meanwhile, a freshman. But I have to give kind of an assist on this to CJ Daniels, because everything I had heard about CJ Daniels from the moment he stepped on campus was this kid is trying to be a leader, and he's trying to help these youngins, and he's putting in the work in a way that he knew he needed to put in the work, because he looked around the room and said, I need to put in the work to help these kids and to help this team. And CJ Daniels, even when he's been hurt, has been a mentor, has been a leader, and has helped Malachi Toney along the way, because even though he looks mature and beyond his years, he still just turned 18 like 2 months ago. So I give props to CJ Daniels for helping the kid out when he needed it. Not that he needed much, but just to be there as a mentor and an elder in that room. So we appreciate that all without a doubt. Cam, this year we gave the soon-to-be 18-year-old the choice as to what we were doing for Thanksgiving. It's just the three of us. All of our family is up north. So did we cook? Did we go out? Did we go to a fancy buffet? What were we going to do? And the kid that will walk around the house saying, I know ball better than everyone, because he's got a bit of an ego on him, although in some way, shape, or form, I can certainly find some things that he needs to correct, like maybe clean your room once every 5 or 6 months. Yeah. Learn how to put the sheets on your bed. Anyways, so we gave the kid, hey, Zach, what do you want to do for Thanksgiving? You're about to be an adult. You're an 18. Make the decision. So what does the South Florida born and raised kid decide he wants to do for Thanksgiving? Go to Flanagan's. That's what he wants to do. Flanagan's is open. They've got turkey. And they've got football, and that's what he wants to do. He wants a green cup on Thanksgiving. That's where we will go. It's not maybe the traditional Thanksgiving, but it's South Florida Thanksgiving.
Man, they better at least be paying double time for those who are working on Thanksgiving.
No doubt.
On the holiday when.
I will tell you this. You will enjoy this. There was a time, it might have been around like 1998 or 99. I just graduated from college. I was working at the radio station, like the worst hours, overnight, like from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. or midnight to 8 a.m. on the weekends, just running the board, taking in satellite feeds, like cutting tape when we used to do such things. And I was down here alone for Thanksgiving. I couldn't afford to go up north. I had to make my $5.60 an hour, and I got double time if I worked on Thanksgiving. So I made that big 11 something, 10 an hour, whatever it is. I can't do math, but so I stayed into town, and when I got off of work on Thanksgiving morning at like 7 a.m., I went home, I took a nap, and then I went to Loggerhead Flanagan's in the Grove, and that is where I spent my Thanksgiving. I ate at the bar, I had some turkey, I had some drinks, I watched some football, and it was a fun time. It was me and a bunch of other lonely souls at the bar at Flanagan's, yucking it up, and it was a good time. And so we will be doing that again. Cam, I will be enjoying my Thanksgiving. I hope you enjoy your Thanksgiving. I hope everyone out there enjoys their Thanksgiving.
Absolutely.
Let's just get a damn victory. How about that?
I'm with it. That'll be a great way to celebrate. So again, thank you for everybody. I thank you in advance for liking and subscribing and sharing and commenting on this here show on whatever platform you are consuming it, whether it's YouTube, Apple Music, Spotify, whatever. So thank you for that. Thank you for your continued support, and just thank you for rocking with us. And we'll check you guys soon.
Yeah, we'll see you next time right here on the Real Ones Canes podcast. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Peace.
Happy Thanksgiving.